Well, welcome to a very special workshop. My name is Carol Francis. I have been co-chair of the Education Special Interest Group of the System Dynamics Society. Our mission is to reach out to other educational associations and create the opportunity to introduce system dynamics and its potential for improving planning and management of colleges and universities. So while I was chief economist of the American Council on Education, I got a request for a proposal from the Arizona Board of Regents. They had a major effort that they were undertaking to improve their strategic planning, and they wanted some enrollment projections over the next 10 or 20 years. And I dutifully got out my Excel spreadsheet and had population by age group, and I was aging it and moving it forward, and I showed it to my son, who was at MIT working with the System Dynamics group, and he was a student of John Sturman. And he looked at my proposal and said, "You cannot submit this proposal." And I said, "But we've got 36 hours to rewrite it." And he said, "Okay, sit down, we're going to rewrite this." So he rewrote it as a system dynamics proposal. And we submitted it, and we got into the top 3, and they made a phone call to us. So we pioneered with them and created a system dynamics model for them, which they used in negotiations with the state legislature to set out their budget. And I think we ultimately probably made a difference of more than $1 million in their budget as a consequence of the credibility that the model provided in the negotiation process. So we were very pleased. The next time we had a response to a proposal, we didn't have to compete. We were sole source because they really liked the system dynamic approach. Our traditional education analytic tools just give us correlation, which may not result in a fundamental understanding of cause and effect. And the system dynamics, well, I would say it's much better at dealing with complexity. And I think we know in education that higher education issues are complex. System dynamics is eclectic. We can incorporate the good results of other analytic techniques. And so we are pleased to have an opportunity to provide an introduction to system dynamics for you today. He has developed the field of strategy dynamics and has applied it in industry and is, I think, just back from Moscow, where he was working with strategy dynamics for universities, and some of that will be reflected in the work that he offers us today. So I turn this over to you.
Thank you very much, Karen. It's very good to be here. Nice to meet you all. I hope you've had a good conference so far. Let me just summarise for you what we're going to do today. First of all, I need to find out something about the issues that are bothering you in your institutions and in your field. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, this is going to be a group activity. You're going to have to run a simulated department of a university using one of our tools. And just to kind of give you the bottom line here, what we do with system dynamics is we model reality as closely as we possibly can. We can build working, quantified, time-based models of all kinds of enterprises and issues. The method has been used in all kinds of fields, from project management in business to environmental issues to health issues. I just noticed in the paper this morning the announcement that China has just signed up to the Paris carbon emissions accord. One of the tools that the Intergovernmental Committee used to get the governments to understand the implications of climate change was still is, a system dynamics model of how carbon emissions change the greenhouse gas levels in the atmosphere and contribute to climate change in the planet. It's been used by the World Health Organization to develop its policy for the eradication of polio, but we've now improved the method, we've improved the tools, and it is now at a state where I firmly believe it is easier, faster, cheaper, more reliable to build good working models of the situations that you're facing than it is to do a worse job with a spreadsheet. Right? That's where we're at. I think we've transformed what you can now do. The phrase strategy dynamics is simply reflecting the fact that my background is in strategic management in the corporate world. So what I've done is I've taken the system dynamics method and I've wrapped it around frameworks that are appropriate for strategy problems. How do we improve enterprise performance over time, whether that enterprise is a coffee store or Microsoft or a university. So you will find that these slides, you can just go get these slides from that link there. Just like to take a note of that link. You are welcome to use all of the material that I will share with you today, including the working models. That link will take you to the slides. Simply download them and do what you will with them. You can use them with your colleagues. You can even get on Skype and play with them over the internet with your colleagues as well if you wish. So this is entirely open to you. So what I'd like to start with is I would like to understand rather quickly, time is now quite short, some of the kinds of issues that you are facing in your institutions. So could you get together in groups of 3 or 4, please? And in no more than 10 minutes, we've got to go pretty fast on this. In 10 minutes, could you just list for me the top 3 strategic challenges that your institutions are facing? So I'll go around the groups and I'll just pick up an example in turn from each group. This is entirely going to be a group activity, by the way, this morning. So please join in with the groups around you. Okay, that's been very helpful indeed. Thank you very much for that. That's given me a flavour of some of the issues that are concerning you. And what I will do is we will go through the exercise for most of the rest of the morning, and then at the end we'll just come back and reflect on how these issues relate to the systems view of a university that we're going to look at. So what we're going to do is you are going to run a simulated university department, and we're focusing on the teaching activity of that department. We have a separate model which looks at the research activity, and we have the means to glue the two together. We're going to focus on the teaching activity of this department. And you've got basically 3 choices. You can make decisions on 3 things. You can increase or reduce the number of courses that you offer. You can change the average fee that you charge for the courses. This is set in a context where where degree programs are being charged for. And you can hire faculty, or you can allow faculty to leave. So that's essentially your 3 decisions. Nothing terribly controversial about those, I think. And your aim here is you want to grow the department, and because of these financial pressures, you must do so certainly without losing money, but ideally grow the department in a way that actually enables it to make a profitable contribution to the wider university. Okay, so this is what I'd like you to do. We're going to do this in pairs. So if you can organise yourself into 2s, with a computer between you? Okay, the address to go to is sdl.re/university1. When you get there, you should see something like this. That's what you should see, okay? At the bottom of the screen, you should see that little blue bar. See that? Okay. That's running from year 1 to year 10. So we're going to run this university department for 10 years. There's a little up arrow to the left of it. If you click on that, you should see the run controls appear with a little green button. If you can see too much or too little on your screen, there are zoom buttons at the top, okay? And if you click the green button at the bottom, you get a red button. This is what we call a comparison run. Let me just take you through the screen. At the top, you can see a chart of the number of faculty, and it's running from year 1 to year 10. And the red line is the number of faculty you've currently got. The blue line is the total number of faculty you actually need, both to do the teaching and to spend the time needed to launch new courses. Okay? So faculty do those two things. They don't just do the classes they're teaching. They've also, if you launch new courses, they have got to spend time doing that. Okay? Next to that, you've got the revenue, costs and profit. So the thing to keep an eye on is the red line, which is the profit contribution from the courses. The blue line's the revenue, the green line is the faculty cost, and the purple line is the overhead. To the right, you've got the number of students. So that's the number of students enrolling each year, the number graduating each year, you've got the dropout rate, and you've got the current number of students, which is several years cohorts there. Below that, you've got some smaller charts. This is hiring and loss of faculty. Faculty leave if they get overworked. Okay? They go to a university where because they won't have time to do their research, you see. So they will go somewhere else if you overwork them. You've got quality and reputation. That's the quality that your current students are experiencing. And you've got the reputation out in the wider world about the quality of your teaching. So that will kind of follow on. You can see that in this case, quality is drifting down and reputation kind of follows it. And this is the number of students per course. So it's kind of up to you what your objectives are. You could say, well, I want to maximise profits, or I want to grow the largest number of students, or whatever you like. To the right, you've got the decisions that you can take. So simply change those numbers and step it forward from year to year. So I'm going to reduce the fees. I'm going to add, I think we ought to have lots more courses, and we're going to need to hire more faculty. Okay, then all you do is just press the step button, and the simulation will move forward. The thin lines are the base case where you do nothing. You simply leave the decisions alone and run it. That will produce the thin lines. The thick lines are your result. Okay? If you get an interesting result you want to keep, just take a screenshot and save it away. So over to you. Let me give you, 20 minutes or so to work on this. And we'll see who can come up with a result for this university department that you're happy with. If you want to start again, by the way, just hit the red button and the green button again. That just clears everything and starts the comparison run again. Okay, for those of you who have successfully got your university department working well, I've got a little challenge for you, a little competition if you like. And the competition is, what is the largest number of students you can reach by the end, staying profitable at all times, and never having more than 2,000 students dropping out, while maintaining a quality level of at least 80%. Okay, you may have different ways of getting there, but we'll see which group can give us the best result. Okay, it's time to move on, so let's just have a run around the group. Just finish off the run that you're on, and then we'll collect the results. 16, 17? 15? It sounds like 25, is it? Yes. And you want to be, you got 20, 25? It sounds like this group has hit the biggest number by far. Okay, but let me tell you about what's going on here. If you decide to use this exercise with colleagues or students or anything else, 2 of the slides are actually handouts you can give people. So what we do when we're teaching with this kind of thing is we say, okay, here's where you're starting. Right? So give this out as a piece of paper. Get the students or whoever to just play with the model and figure out how it works. And then say, I want you to sketch on here what your objectives are. What do you want to have happen? Then you get them to actually run it and collect the results. So, you know, what results on these measures did we get from each of the groups who played it? So that's how we use these kinds of models in teaching. We're not going to go through that step today, but let me just explain what's going on here. I mentioned to you at the beginning that I'm from the strategy world, strategic management of corporate situations. I spent a lot of time in the petrochemicals industry, the brewing industry, hotels and restaurants. I built strategic plans for organisations. I then moved to London Business School where I taught strategy for 10 years before discovering that System Dynamics was actually a much better tool for strategy than the other stuff that I'd been given. But if I look back on the strategy world, this is where I kind of came from. If you, I guess if you go and see the strategy departments in your universities and say, kind of, what do you teach? Most of what they teach is this stuff on the left. It's called positioning. Who am I going to serve? With what? And how am I going to do it? Okay? So I am going to aim for the kind of bottom of the pyramid. Students who haven't got much money and it's really difficult for them to afford to go through. That's a positioning choice. What am I going to offer them? I'm going to offer them very efficient learning entirely. And how am I going to do it? I'm going to do it entirely through distance learning course delivery systems. Okay? That's an example of positioning. And most of the strategy world spends all its time worrying about that. Right? What it has failed to do is spend enough time figuring out what to do on the right-hand side. How do we implement this strategy that we have chosen to do? But you've got to do both. You've got to choose a good position that is going to work, and then you've actually got to make it happen. So what this is all about is what to do, when, how much, across all the decisions that you have to take all the time. So that's the thing on the right is a continual thing you have to do. The thing on the left, basically, you very, very rarely change your mind about this. Right? If you think about all the successful companies we can think of, they don't change this thing on the left pretty much at all. Yeah. Amazon is still essentially doing what it was doing back in 1996 when it started. Ryanair and these low-fare airlines, yeah, they haven't changed this stuff on the left, really at all. And your institutions probably haven't changed it significantly. You might extend it. You might say, oh, well, you know, we're going to create a new centre of excellence in biotechnology or something of that kind. You might extend that stuff on that. But you very rarely throw it out and start again. That's very unusual. I worked for a company where we did do that. We did throw out what we were doing and started completely again, but it's very rare, and it's even more rarely successful. So that kind of doesn't happen. It's all about this stuff on the right. What are we going to do, when, how much, to get the results that we want? And that's where the performance comes from. And from my world, the performance you're usually looking for is grow profits. You want to grow profits and cash flow because that's what investors give you the money for. Right? If you buy shares or stock in Shell or something, it's because they are giving you back dividends, and your share value will go up. So that's the third one. But many organisations, including corporate ones, have got non-financial objectives as well. They want to improve the quality. They want to grow and sustain a strong reputation. They actually want to grow the business. They want to capture more of the market. So you've got various different kinds of performance measures that you can choose to pursue. And you have as well, right? Do we want to grow the number of students? Do we want to maximise profits? Do we want to launch more courses? Do we want to maintain quality? The problem with strategic management is that you've got multiple objectives that you're trying to reach all the time. So that's been the focus here. So what's going on in this thing that you've been playing with? Well, up at the top, we've got the number of courses that we're offering. And the thing on the right is what we call a stock. It's a quantity of something that exists at a point in time. Other examples would be how much cash there is in your bank account. It would be how many restaurants a restaurant company operates. It's how many staff you employ. It's things or stuff that you've got. That's what a stock is. And the way you change a stock is you add something to it or you take something away. So your bank account increases if you pay in money. It decreases if you take money out. Right? It increases if you pay in more than you take out. It decreases if you take out more than you pay in. Right? So that is true, that relationship is true of everything that has this characteristic of being a stock. And your courses, this is your product range. This is a stock of what you offer to the marketplace. Okay. So what I've done there is I've increased the number of courses per each year by 5. I was increasing it at 2, and now I'm increasing it at 5 per year. So from years 3 to 10, the red line shows that the number of courses is going up. But there's a problem. Why do I launch new courses? You tell me, why do you want to launch new courses? To attract more students. Okay, so let's launch more courses. We get more students, and more courses, and more students. What's wrong with that? There's something wrong with that. What's not going to work with that?
More staff needed.
So
More staff needed.
you need more faculty to teach it.
There's a limit to the number of students.
There's a limit to the number of students, absolutely. One of the most common strategic problems in universities is that, yes, you launch more courses, yes, you get more students, but you get fewer more students the more new courses you offer in a particular area. So let's say you start with 100 students per course in this department, and you add another 5 courses. Well, some of those 100 students on the other courses are going to not enroll for those. They're going to enroll for the new ones that you offer instead. Why do people keep making that mistake? And this is a mistake in the corporate world as well. They keep making the mistake because what they're looking at is the success of the new courses. Hey, this new course has got 80 students. That's pretty good. What we didn't ask ourselves is, how many of those 80 would have taken our existing courses if we had not offered the new one? All right. It's called cannibalization. It happens in the corporate world all over the place. Mars or some other confectionery company launches another sweetie product. And they say, oh, that's great, we've got lots of people buying our new sweeties. Right? But hang on, some of those people would have bought our existing sweeties, so why is sales of this product going down? Well, sales of this product going down because you stole the customers from that one. That's what happens, and that's what's happening with students too.
The other thing is often you continue to get students, but you get increasingly lower and lower quality students.
Okay.
It's happening. So it's not a question of numbers,
Yeah.
because often you still have untapped demand,
Uh-huh.
but it's people that don't bring the requisite skills. And then you have what
Absolutely.
you're saying as well, is that they don't complete, they start failing, they don't
Yeah.
progress.
Okay. Well, let me give you a little kind of mental image as to how to think about that. So let's say that that's what's happening here. So I've launched more courses, I've attracted more students, but the quality of the students is going down. Right? So think of it like this. Think of this stock here. Think of it like a tank of water. Right? And I want the tank to be more full, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to pump more water into the tank. Right? Thing is, that tank has got nice hot water in it. It's nice hot water. Think of it as a bath, if you like, right? I've got a nice hot bath. Problem is, I've only got cold water that I can add to the bath, because I've run out of the hot water in the system, right? So the more water I add to the bath, the colder it's going to get. So the more students I add to my student population, the lower the quality of those students could be if I don't take good care to make sure that the quality is maintained. Okay. So we've got students enrolling at a faster rate here because we're offering more courses. Student numbers have actually fallen in later years though, so what's going on there? Well, the more students we have, the more pressure that puts on the faculty. Okay? They've got to do more teaching hours to deliver the courses that we've offered to the students. So one of the things that happens there is that the quality of the learning experience, I heard one of the groups this morning talking about the quality that students experience, that quality starts to fall. And when the quality starts to fall, we get students dropping out before they finish the course. So I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to go to lectures and find that the lecturer has forgotten what they're teaching us this morning. Right? That's not what I signed up for. The problem with that is that word gets around. So if the quality goes down, out here, out in the big wide world, students who are thinking of going to university are saying, hey, my older sister, my older brothers, they went to some university and they said the teaching is really lousy, right? Yeah. So they talk to their friends and say that's really not good. I wouldn't go there. My older sister said it's awful, right? That's reputation. Reputation is a stock as well. It's another of these things that we want to fill up, and if we fill it up, good things happen. If we allow it to be drained away, bad things happen. So, one of the problems with reputation is it's very, very easy to lose. It's quite hard to get back again. You have to work really hard to recapture a lost reputation. So that's why the enrolment rate fell, because word has got around that you're not doing a good job anymore of teaching people, so the enrolment has fallen. Down on the faculty, we did start raising the number of faculty to cope with the big increase in courses that we're offering. But because the pressure on the faculty went up, they couldn't spend the time they needed to write their research papers and pursue their academic credentials. Faculty say, well, I'm not sticking around here, I need to go somewhere where I'm going to get some research time, please. So the faculty resignation rate goes up, your faculty churn rate increases, so your faculty numbers goes down, and what does that do to the pressure on the faculty who remain? Oh no, James resigned, oh, no, I'm going to have to pick up her course. But I've already got too many courses to teach. I'm never going to get that paper finished. I'm never going to get that book out that I need to do. Oh, heck, you know, I'm going to leave too. So this thing down here at the bottom right, this is a horrible little reinforcing circle, right? If you start getting faculty resigning, the pressure goes up on the rest. So you get more faculty resigning, so the pressure goes up on the rest. So there's a nasty little trap you can get into down there. So that increases pressure again. Later though, we actually do something about this. We realise that there's a problem, so we raise our hiring rate. We go out and we really try to hire some faculty. And that raises the faculty number, but it's too late to fix that problem. It will fix it in later years, but it won't fix it right now. It will take some time. Where are the financials in this? Well, the students generate the revenue, the faculty and the facilities drive costs, and that's where your profit comes from. And here's your other decision over here, the fee per course. So if you charge a higher fee, you can expect that a lower fraction of those who would have joined your university choose to go elsewhere, but it does raise your revenue. So this isn't actually ever so complicated, really, is it? This is perhaps a different way of looking at things than you've seen before. Anyone find this a bit scary? Yeah, a bit scary? Well, it's not actually ever so unusual. All you've got to do is think to yourself, each item on this diagram is a column in a spreadsheet. Okay? It's got its name at the top, and it's got the 10 years of data going down the column. The arrows between them are like cell references. So if I want to work out how much reputation changes, it depends on what the current quality of learning is. Okay? That's just like a regular cell reference. So here we go. The number of students who enroll per year it's related to the normal number of students you would expect to enroll on a course, multiplied by the number of courses you offer, but it is divided by the relative fee. So if you put the fee up, then the number of students will go down. And it's also multiplied by the reputation. So that's a simple little formula. You could put that in an Excel cell as a formula in an Excel spreadsheet. The only difference, of course, is that that's what you actually put in the model. You don't put in A2 multiplied by B37 divided by D$22. You actually put in courses offered multiplied by normal students divided by relative fee multiplied by reputation. And that means anyone can follow what you're doing with these models. And these relationships too, these stocks, that's easy too. Students this year is students last year plus students who enrolled minus students who graduated or dropped out. There's nothing mystical or technically complicated or mathematically sophisticated going on here. It's all simple, direct relationships. And here is the working model. So if you go back to your model, just have a look at your model on the screen. If you scroll down, this is the working model. And each of those things are doing exactly what we just described. Okay? Now, the formulae and the equations in this model are hidden because I don't want people going away and breaking my model. But you can see there, students per course, for example. How do you think I calculate that? The number of students divided by the number of courses, right? There's nothing complicated here. So this one over here, the fee, there's the fee. I'm charging 4,000. I was charging 5,000. So I'm comparing that with the fees that other universities are charging. So is my fee higher or lower than other universities are charging. Now, I can charge more for my courses if my reputation is strong, if the quality of teaching is high, all right? But only up to a point. If I really want to get students coming in big numbers, I can cut the fee. If I'm charging less than my competitors, I will get lots more students applying to my university, and as is happening here, the student number is climbing. So this is, I trust you'll feel that's not too complicated a thing to do. But all you've been doing is making 3 simple decisions for one department in a university. There are, of course, more decisions to be made. Do I need more lecture theatres and tutorial rooms? Do I need to provide more online learning so that the productivity of the faculty can go up? So I get fewer contact hours per student per year, but there's more student-led learning so that the same number of faculty can deliver more teaching. Okay? There's more decisions than that to take. But you are making those decisions for that department. Okay? But this is going on in all the departments. All the departments of the university are making the same choices all the time. That what they are trying to do is to grow their departments profitably. They're all struggling with this. But of course, what each of those departments can get away with depends on the particular conditions in their subject area. Maybe you can charge more in the law school or the business school. Maybe you can charge less in the modern languages school or the archaeology school. So, what works in one department will not necessarily work in the same way in other departments. So here's a model that actually runs multiple departments. Okay. If you go to, you might just make a note of this, if you go to sdl.re/university parent, this is a high-level model. You're making the same 3 decisions for the engineering department, the humanities department, the sciences department, and over to the right, we are pulling the results up from those departments and adding them together, and we're taking away a central overhead cost of running a university, and you can see that we've got different numbers of students in each of the schools, each of the departments. We've got different levels of learning quality in each of the departments. We've got different numbers of faculty. We've got different profit contributions, but this is the total result for the university's profit performance. Okay. I don't think we've got time to play with it now. It basically does the same kinds of things as the single department model, but now you're trying to choose priorities between the departments. So if I can only afford to hire 50 faculty this year, do I hire them in humanities, in sciences, or in engineering? That's the kind of trade-off decision that you're making now. So, in summary then, why is strategy difficult? Why is running any complex institution difficult? You've got these accumulation factors, these things that build up over long periods of time. Course numbers, student numbers, faculty numbers, intangibles like reputation, intangibles like faculty morale, those things. And what that does is it creates delays in the system. So you try to fix something, and kind of nothing happens. Let's say you've got 100 faculty, and you've got 10 faculty per year leaving, and you're replacing them with 10 faculty each year. Okay? So you've got 100, and it's just constant. You've got 10 in, 10 out each year. If you double the hiring rate, you do not double the number of faculty. All you do is add 10% of it, and then another 10 the next year, and another 10. It will take you 10 years to double the number of faculty if you double the hiring rate. So you have to make big shifts on these flow rates to make big differences. There's interdependence in the system, okay? We pull a lever over here and it hits something over there. And that thing over there then changes and it comes back and hits the thing we hit in the first place. You've got these feedback effects. So you've got to get multiple choices right across the whole system all the time. That means you've got feedback going on. You've got thresholds. Fee rates would be an example. You know, if your fee rate is within kind of plus or minus 10% of what other institutions are charging for a similar course, probably doesn't make much difference. Yeah? If you charge 20% more, your enrollment rate doesn't just drop by 5% or 10%. Your enrollment rate could drop to nothing. That's a threshold. You have passed the threshold of affordability. If your reputation is kind of 70 or 80%, goes up or down a bit, probably doesn't make much difference. Reputation drops to 60%, all of a sudden, no students show up. Right? It's a threshold effect. And the beauty of systematics and why I got into it from my world in strategy is that it was designed to handle all of those things. That's what it does. So there's a couple of things I wanted to do. The first one was I wanted to go back to the list of issues that you brought up and just talk about how we would go about dealing with some of these issues. So that first point about demand for skilled labour, this is demand in the outside world for changing profile and mix of skills in the real world, right? Yeah? Okay. Well, that basically says that the employment market is requiring skills that our current programs don't deliver. Therefore, we have got to add some of the courses we currently offer, and we've got to discontinue some of the courses that we were previously offering. Now, you may have some direct driver for that. You may be watching the recruitment numbers and making that decision yourself, or you might be making it in response to the demand from the students. So I was reading just last week that there's been a substantial drop in the UK in the demand for places on the creative arts programs. So all the universities who are offering creative arts degree programs, some of those have got to say to themselves, we've got to get out of here, right? There's too many lions on the prairie for this, right? This isn't going to work. We are not one of the strongest schools doing this, therefore we're going to close that department. Right? Financing and budget cuts relative to rising demand. Well, you've kind of got that. You know, if I put into this model the external funding coming from government or other sources, then your profit number would be lifted to a new level. If that would allow you to operate your courses at a headline lower profitability, if not at a loss. Right? If that funding is going down, then your financial contribution from the programs has got to rise. And then you get into the conflicts that we've been talking about. Do I offer more courses? Well, if I do, I've got to employ more faculty, and the faculty are going to be spending their time developing new courses, but the student numbers per course are going to go down, so am I going to make more profit or try and make less profit with more courses? Ooh, don't know. Measuring whole system performance. I think we've kind of seen some of that. You've got profitability in the model, you've got reputation in the model, you've got staff pressure in the model. These models are your balanced scorecard. They give you all of the metrics that you need to manage whole system performance. And it's up to you to choose the priorities between those metrics. Recruiting staff in a competitive environment, well, I already said that if these faculty are under pressure, they haven't got time to do the research that they want to do, they will leave. Where are they going to leave? They're going to leave and go to another university where they will have that opportunity. So in the model that we have, competition is implicit. What I could do is I could create 2 universities in this model, and they could fight over students, and they could fight over faculty. Right? It's the mechanisms by which these things work is pretty well understood. Equity from elite focus and the taking on of people not from the previous elites, not completing the programs, and the issue of whether what they're learning is relevant to their employment. We talked about the quality of the students that you're taking onto your courses, right? And I think we were talking at that point about the sheer kind of intellectual quality. You know, have they got the marks on the A levels or whatever that we require to be sure that they can do the courses? Well, students have other attributes that are important to you. So, are they from a privileged background? Are they from an underprivileged background? Do those different students behave differently as the system behaves? And the way we do that is we take one piece of the model. We take this section of the model here, this area in the middle, and we simply take a photocopy of it. So we've got students of this kind and that kind and the other kind. We can define those in whatever way we want. And just as we did with the university departments, we add up all of those student types. And that tells us what's happening to the student body as a whole. Improving teaching and efficiency. Yeah, we can do all the kind of distance learning stuff, the student-led learning stuff that raises productivity for our faculty. Commercializing research and innovation. We haven't really had a chance to get into that, but if you explore the University 2 model, you will see some indication of how you would go about doing that. Dropout rates we've already looked at. Course switching, that's dropping out from one course and switching to another. That's easily modeled. And system-based decision making. Well, if you had a full model of this system for your institution, then you would be able to do exactly that. You would be able to do system-based decision making. So let me just leave you with some next steps, which are entirely optional, up to you. There is much more we can do with this. You're very welcome to use these slides. You're very welcome to use the models. They're not going to go away. Their behaviour might change. That's the only thing. This is only the second time I've taken them out for a run. Okay, so it's just possible that pushing the course fees up to 10,000 won't work quite as well next time I change the model. But you're very welcome just to use this material. If you go to High Ed Slides, you just download them. You can do as you wish. There are 2 other things you may do if you like, and I welcome your some kind of view on this. We do offer an online course on how to do this. It's aimed at business people, but it is easily configured to be suitable for a particular sector. If we have enough interest from people in the higher education field, what we could do is we could run a tailored program, picking whichever pieces of the course are relevant to you, and teaching you how to do that. And in the process of taking that course, you would be building simple models, and we would be sharing the models that we build during the course. Typically what's involved here is they are online video classes. They're 20 to 30 minutes each. It just takes you through the principles. There are little quizzes embedded in there, and then we back those up with webinars where we say, okay, did you understand the principles in that video? Now let's talk about how they apply to your situation. That's basically how we do it. And we can do something simple and quite compressed over maybe 4 or 5 half days, or we can do something much more substantial. And the third thing we could do, if this would be of interest, the question was asked, can we handle institutions of different kinds? Well, yes we can, but the other thing we can do is, if we've got institutions of a similar kind, we could collaborate with each other to actually develop a policy simulator for that group of institutions. We did something similar with some of the local councils in the UK on modelling the provision of elderly care in this country. What happened there was that we had 12 local authorities collectively funded a project to build that model, and then that model is now being extended and offered out to other local authorities. So that's the kind of model that we could do if anyone's interested. And all you need to do, if you're interested in any of those things, simply send an email to contact@strategydynamics.com. Okay, I think the whirlwind of time has blown us away. So any last questions or comments before we wrap up? Okay.
I think we should thank you, Kim, for the wonderful